Hello, everybody. My name is Kenneth Mejia. I am a fellow Green Party member, and I just want to say thank you all for tuning in. I want to say thank you to the Green Party as well for letting me use their platform to share my story with you all and about the journey I made from going from a Democrat to a Green. I I think these are definitely exciting times right now and scary times as well. And, at this time, we need everyone to get involved in terms of the movement and pushing for progressive policies, not only electorally, but also streets. So, for many of those who don't know me, I ran for office in 2018, and we basically got the highest vote percentage against a Democrat as a Green Party member, close to 30% of the vote. And so, but this all started for me in 2015, right? And I'm going to tell you my story because, as we all know, Bernie Sanders just dropped out, and he suspended his campaign, and he's lining up behind Joe Biden. Obama is lining up behind Joe Biden, and also Elizabeth Warren. And we all know that we need to find an alternative political power outside of the warmongering corporate Democrats and Republicans. So for me, I started out here in 2015. I was a huge Berner, and and I would go on college campuses. I would knock on doors. I would calls. I would text banks. I would barnstorm. I would do all of that because I really believed in Bernie's message. And I was a Democrat my whole life before I was a Green, and I really got excited because um, I saw someone like Bernie who really wanted to help people in 2016. And I think a lot of people um, who are watching or who are burners, supported him too because he had that genuine feel about really wanting to help people, and that's sort of why I got involved. He wanted to fight for things like healthcare as a human right, college for all. He wanted to basically have an environment that is protected, and we're moving to renewable energy, and he wanted to get money out of politics. And you know what I liked about him most too in 2016 is how he would go after the Democratic Party, the establishment, Hillary Clinton, talking about how they supported war, they supported bailouts for Wall Street, they support oil pipelines, fracking, you name it. And when I saw Bernie do that, when he called him out, I was like, this is the guy. Like we got a root behind him, and that's why I got so involved with his campaign in 2015 and 2016. And I ran to be I ran to be a delegate. I went to Philly. I did all that volunteering, and he even inspired me to run for office. There's a video out there of me speaking to Bernie Sanders. He gave me advice on running for Congress, and so I ran for Congress. It just goes to show how much of an impact how Bernie Sanders has some, as ordinary as myself, to actually do something and get involved more in politics. And after he lost to Hillary. Well, he basically cheated him out. We saw it with the emails, and see the super delegates already stacked against him. The media was against him. I had it. I couldn't realize why the Democratic Party would want to sabotage, people who really wanted to help us. And so that's why I left, after the 2016 election. And I joined the Green Party. And if it wasn't for amazing campaigns like, Jill Stein, who ran, I probably wouldn't have um, heard about it. And so I think that the Green Party is actually a place for me. This is the area where, our our slogan in 2016 was people planet peace profit. I think that was a one of the biggest things that stood out to me, and I really, really, really enjoyed that Green Party was fighting for those things. They're already ahead and fighting for things like Medicare for all, like college. They're the ones who were talking about canceling student debt. They're talking about the Green New Deal. They're talking about housing for all, helping our unhoused neighbors from being on the streets, fighting against the criminal justice system or the injustice system that we have here that's racist against Black and brown communities. And so, I saw the Green Party as my perfect um, outlet to still get involved in electoral politics. And I think that a lot of people right now are sort of in the same boat, and I think a lot of people are also unsure about what to do next. And so, I'm here to tell you that the Green Party is an amazing party. Like I said, I'm here because we have an amazing platform. We're decentralized. We believe in socialist values. Where we care about democracy amongst people making decisions. And not just having corporations or even the state make up decisions. We really believe in that democratic control of decision making, while also making sure that decisions we do make doesn't, impact our environment negatively. And so I also joined the Green Party as well because we are also the next leftist political party that actually has ballot access. Because there's a lot of people who say, "Why'd you go to the Greens? Why don't you just do a political party?" And I'm like, "Well, the Greens already have number one platform that I stand for. Number two, we're already in a ton of states already on the ballot, and I'm very lucky to be running in the Green Party, to be representing us. We are building, we are growing, and I think this is the next best thing for Burners. Honestly, I mean, if you were a big fan of Bernie Sanders, um, this is the place to go. I quit my job in 2016 for Bernie Sanders, to run for office. And I bet some of you are watching this and you could relate. Like you probably did a lot of drastic things because you really believed in that movement. And I believed in the movement so much that I was really moved by him, and I really wanted to. So I was 25. I quit my job. I was making great money, but I realized I wanted to help people. So I quit my job to run for Congress in 2016 and ran as a Democrat, as a Bernie-crat. That's what they called it back then. And this is sort of I'm sort of carrying the torch now. Ever since, I'm not looking back, and I'm really glad that, Hey, what's up, everybody? Can you hear me better now? Does it sound a little bit better? I hope we were having some technical difficulties with the sound, but I do hope that you all could hear me better. So hopefully it's fixed. If it does sound better, please type in the comments that you could hear me clearly and that everything is good to go. But I will continue where I left off, and I'll restart, but I'll make it even faster. So, like I said, I'm Kenneth Mejia, and I was a huge Berner. I was a huge Bernie-crat in 2015, 2016, and you know, I truly believe in Bernie Sanders' message of helping people, helping the most vulnerable. I believed in this message of single-payer healthcare, making sure that everyone had healthcare as a human right, having education as a human right. When he fought for things like public colleges and university, when he fought, against the injustice system that is, treating our Black and brown communities terribly. And most importantly, how he wanted to have peace and not war, or the fact that he wanted to move away from oil and fracking and getting money out of politics. Like that's what stuck with me. I was a huge Berner, and I was out there, knocked on a bunch of doors. I phone banked for him. I was sharing all my post I had. I drove all the way 300 miles, to watch him, but not 300, but like 120 miles all the way in San Diego, only for him to be in LA the next day. And I was like, damn, I just went all the way there for no reason. But that's how dedicated I was as a Berner. I even quit my job in 2016 as a Berner to run for Congress because of him, because he inspired me. And there's a video on Facebook and YouTube of actually me speaking to him, and he actually gave me advice on running for office. And it was just really refreshing to see somebody go up against the freaking Democratic establishment, and it was really inspiring. And that really moved me, being raised by a single mom, having, siblings, and she was just out there wanting to help us, and, we get by. And, I wanted to help people as well. And, I feel like if we had someone like Bernie in office, he would have helped people like my mom. He would have helped low-income families, immigrants, people of color, you name it. And when he got screwed in 2016, when DNC screwed him over, when the Democratic Party screwed him over, when the superdelegates screwed him over, when the media was against him, I was like, I had it. I really had it. I went to Philadelphia in 2016 for the convention, and at that moment, I joined the Green Party, and I saw Jill Stein there. I saw her there for the first time, and I was hearing her speak, and I was like, damn, like the Green Party, I never heard about the Green Party in my life, right? I've been a Democrat my whole life, because when you grow up in somewhere like Los Angeles, you're always told to vote blue, vote Democrat, because we are the party of the people. Well, that was a lie, and I really love the fact that Bernie was running that campaign that called out the Democratic Party, that called out Hillary, that called out all the super delegates, the media, and that was 2016, and when he got screwed and I saw Jill in Philly, I made the switch over right away. The Green Party, they represent me. They're fighting for things like single-payer healthcare. They're fighting for things like tuition-free public college and university. They're fighting for things like canceling student debt. They're fighting for housing for all, housing for our unhoused neighbors who are living on the streets, who are getting screwed over right now, especially during this time. They're fighting for things like a Green New Deal for 100% clean renewable energy by 2030. They're fighting against this criminal injustice system that is putting down our Black and brown communities. And when I saw the Green Party and Jill and everybody, who were standing up for those values, which were very similar to Bernie's, I was like, this is the place where I gotta be. And I knew from there that the Democrats weren't going to budge, that the establishment wasn't going to give us what we wanted, that we wanted to help most vulnerable people without having them to consult their corporate donors to see if it's okay, you know. And I left. I left in 2016, and I didn't, and I never looked back. And I'm proud to be a Green. You know, I ran for Congress 3 times. I ran for Congress when I was 25 years old. First as a Democrat, as a Bernie-crat, you know, that's what they call it. And then I ran for Congress in 2017 as a Green. I ran in a special election because our congressman in LA left. And, you know, I basically tied with fourth place, you know, out of 23 candidates. You know, that's a lot of people. And I think a lot of people were still feeling the burn in LA because, you know, LA was like the only city or our district that won for Bernie, and I ran for Congress as a Green, and it was a great experience, and you know that just prepared me and you know our group here to run again in 2018, and because of that, we ran such a great campaign. We actually got, you know, the highest vote percentage as a Green Party member in U.S. Congress against a Democrat. We got close to 30% of the vote. We got over 41,000 votes as a Green Party member, you know, in LA. You know, that's huge. And the fact that we were all, you know, volunteer based, we didn't get any big money or anything. This was literally us taking the torch that, you know, many things that Bernie started or those before us, progressives started ahead of time, and it was me and our friends and our community carrying the torch, but now we were carrying it under the Green Party. And so I'm very proud that I made the switch as a Berner to a Green. You know, right now we're seeing Bernie Sanders fall in line with the Democrats. We saw that he suspended his campaign early in April. You know, it's crazy how so much organizing has happened in the past 5 years from 2015 to 2020, only to get one phone call by Obama in March, right before Super Tuesday, for Amy and Pete to drop out and endorse Bernie. You know, then you see Yang endorse Bernie, and you know, within a span of 30 days from Super Tuesday till today, all just go down the drain like that. And that was the reason that, you know, in 2016 that I got so pissed off. And, you know, I'm even pissed off even more in 2020 to see this happening because, you know, millions of you fought so hard to get Bernie to where he is. And it just sucks to see him fall in line behind Biden, behind, you know, having Obama fall in line, seeing Warren, like all these people come out of the weeds and be like, you know, I endorse Biden now. It's like, you know, it was never in the cards for Bernie to win, and they did that on purpose, and that just proves to me and to many Berners that the Democratic Party is not the place where we could have that revolutionary campaign. As Jill said, you can't have a revolution in a counter-revolutionary party, right? And you got to think about that because you don't want to spend your life forever trying to keep doing the same thing and expecting the same results in the Democratic Party, right? You know, that's insanity. That's what they call it. And so, you know, I'm a proud Green. I'm glad I dem exited, but you know, this is where we go from here now. You know, it's about what we do now to build long term for the Green Party, to build that eco-socialist future, you know, where people have a say in the decision making of every day-to-day life decisions, you know, that affects all of us, you know, and this is the place where it's going to happen. And, you know, when I was looking at other parties to join, it was the Green Party because, you know, we have the platform and we are the next political party left of the Democrats. You know, they're pretty center right, that has the most most ballot access states. So if you want to think about it, like, well, why don't you just join a new party? Why don't you just did it? Like, it took us this long to get here. You know, we're you know, in 2016, Jill ran an amazing campaign in the Greens that you were able to vote for her in 48 states. Like, that's huge, you know, and that's one of the reasons why I'm a Green, because of our platform, because of our ballot access. And so, you know, I'm a proud Green, and there's so many great things we accomplished since 2016 to 2020, right? You know, the Green Party is definitely highlighted they definitely highlighted a lot of issues in the 2016 campaign that are now slogans now for Democrats that people like AOC is using, like Bernie's using, like even Joe Biden's using, like we're the ones who brought up the Green New Deal. The Green New Deal is ours, and we put that out front and center. Talking about going 100% clean renewable energy by 2030, that was us, and people are catching on. And although the Democrats version is watered down, they don't want to go after frackers, they don't want to go after polluters as hard as we do. We're the ones who created that, and that's why it is so mainstream right now. And things like canceling student debt. Like, who talked about canceling student debt? That was us. That was the Greens. And now you're seeing a legislation from Ilhan Omar and others who are trying to cancel student debt, for everybody. Those are huge accomplishments that Greens have been pushing out on the forefront ever since creation. Medicare for all, legalizing marijuana. Because of that, we are seeing states like California, like Massachusetts and Nevada who are passing laws to legalize it for recreational use. Like those are the things that the Green Party helped push the conversation into the mainstream light. Right. So aside from bringing these big issues that were already part of our campaign to the forefront by Democrats, like I said, we also achieved the most states you could vote for a Green Party presidential candidate. Like in 2016, we had 48 states. Like that was huge. That was even more than Ralph Nader had. We have 26 state Green parties right now. We have 150 current office holders. A lot of people say, you guys only run for president. You guys don't do anything else. Well, no, we actually have 150 office holders. From the local level to city councils to municipal boards to school boards to townships. Greens are out there and they're running, and that's why we need even more people to run for office. You might think 150 is a little, but we only have hundreds and thousands of members. Imagine if we had, over 50 million or 60 million, like the same amount that the Democrats and Republicans had. We could make a lot, and that's why we build now. Um, Other great victories that we've had since 2016 is, Jill Stein's campaign's recount efforts, right? Because of that, in states like Wisconsin and in Michigan, they're ordering new voter machines because they saw discrepancies in 2016. And also in Pennsylvania, we had a settlement where they're now going to push for paper ballots. But now the Pennsylvania government's actually pushing back against us for that settlement to push for paper ballots. And it just goes to show how hard it is to fight for things like election integrity. But those are things that are Greens that are doing right now that are amazing accomplishments, right? And so, when you have a Green in power, whether it's on the local level or state level or Congress level, you could do a lot of great things, right? And one great example was just in 2017. We had a Green Party mayor back then named Rob Davis, and he was the mayor for the city of Davis. And he was the one who spearheaded divesting from Wells Fargo, because at that time, that was when Standing Rock was happening. And he was a Green Party mayor, and he led that effort, and the city of Davis was the second city behind Seattle because Sharma Sawant was the one who was the first city to get them to divest from Wells Fargo. He got the city of Davis to divest from Wells Fargo as well. So that just goes to show some of the great things that a Green can do in power. And that's why we really are encouraging a lot of people to run for office, because, it's going to start from the bottom up, and that's why we run many candidates across the board. We don't just run for presidential. Like, I ran for Congress. I have friends who are running for city council, for school board. We're running across the place, and it's just that we don't get the media attention that we deserve. So anytime a Democrat or a centrist or a Republican, anyone tells you don't run for office besides president, that's just not true. Tell them to check out the gp.org/office holders, and they'll see that we have 150 current office holders in the United States. And, it shows that we're doing great work. And it's just tough when we live in this current climate right now, especially where it's vote blue no matter who, or Trump is bad, or et cetera, right? So now that I told you about my journey as a Berner to going green, and after telling you some of the great accomplishments that we've achieved since 2016, this is where I want you all to get involved, right? Um, we can't just let Bernie and everybody just hand it off to Joe Biden, the corporate Wall Street warmongering Democratic Party, right? Like we got to do something, and we see that clearly progressives aren't wanted. The Democratic Party would rather lose to Republicans than fight for progressive values. And every 4 years, we're going to keep on getting gaslighted. We're going to keep getting people using fear tactics against us for voting our values. It's always going to be us voting against someone or something rather than us voting for someone or something. And that has to stop. This is going to happen every 4 years. And, to all you watching, this is time for you to vote your values, to be a green, to remember why you got in here in the first place, and have integrity and don't compromise. There's always going to be bad things. Things were already bad before before Trump got here. Things are bad already for Black and brown communities, for low income people. Like it was already bad. Like nothing. Like nothing of these neoliberal policies of us returning to normal is going to make things better. It's a lie, and I hope you guys stay strong, because right now it's tough being a green, it's tough being a Berner, it's tough being a progressive in general. So my next part I'm going to talk about is a call to action. I want you to get involved, right? And I want to talk about some things that you could do from your computer, especially during this time because of coronavirus and whatnot. You could get involved with some of these things. And so, the first thing I want to talk about is I want to highlight some great candidates who are running for office on down ballot races in 2020. And I'm just going to highlight 10. But you could also check out gpelections.org, and you could see even more candidates who are running in 2020. But I'm going to highlight 10, and I want you to check out these candidates and donate if you can, $5 or even phone bank, whatever you could do. So I'm going to highlight 10. So in New Jersey, we have Madeline Hoffman. She's running for U.S. Senate. In Michigan, we have Rick Emelusau running for the Michigan House of Representatives for the 110th District. In Washington, D.C., we have Perry Red. He's running for City Council. In Utah, we have Michael Kundick, and he's running for Salt Lake County Mayor. In Oregon, we have Ibrahim Taher, and he's running for U.S. Senate. And in California here, in San Jose, up north, we have Jake Tonkel running. He's running for the San Jose City Council, City Council District 6. And what's great about his race is that he actually got top 2, and now he's going to go one-on-one against a conservative fiscal Democrat. That's what she calls herself. So he's out there in San Jose. In Illinois, we have Tammy Vinson running for Cook County Metropolitan Water Reclamation District. In North Carolina, we have Tamara Zwinak, who's running for U.S. House District 11. In Massachusetts, we have Charlene DiCalagero, and he's running for the Berlin Library Board Trustee. And in Missouri, we have Jerome Bauer, who's running for governor, and Kelly Dragon as lieutenant governor. And also in Maine, we also have Lisa Savage, and she's running representing the Greens as well for U.S. Senate. And in Maine, they actually have ranked choice voting as well. So, after this live stream is over, make sure you go back to this part and check out those candidates that I highlighted. So that's number one. Support these candidates that are running right now for office. This is proof right here that we don't only run for presidential elections. We're actually running on the local level, for the state level, and the federal level. All right. The next thing I want to do is I want to, talk about you getting involved in ballot access. So in 2016, like I said, we had a record number where 48 states could vote for Jill Stein and Baraka. Like, that was huge, right? So because of the success of Jill's campaign in 2016, we were able to secure ballot access for 21 states. Right now, we are petitioning for the other states just like we did in 2016. But we are sort of in a debacle here, right? Because we have COVID-19, we have the coronavirus. Like how the heck are people supposed to knock on doors, petition, collect signatures during the coronavirus? And this is where you need to get involved, right? And if you actually go to gp.org/COVID-19 dash ballot, there is a form here on the page where you could email your governor, you know, and we actually want you to email your governor and let them know that democracy must not fall victim to the COVID-19 in 2020. They need to know their constituents want grassroots candidates on the ballot. So reach out to your governor. Go to gp.org, and I think it's the second slide on the top where we have a template where you could actually email your governor in these states that we're petitioning and tell them, like, hey, you need to drop these requirements, drop these stringent requirements. And we're actually seeing that in certain states where people are doing online petitions, or they're even dropping the entire stringent ballot access requirements. So that's where we're going to need your help, is where you reach out to your elected official, the governor, and let them know to drop it, because people need another option. And so that's ballot access. That's the second thing that you got to get involved with, is ballot access. And if you can as well, try to fight for ballot propositions, like here in California or in your state. Ask and fight for things like fair representation voting, fair representation voting systems, fighting for things like ranked choice voting in your state, or in your, or fighting for things like proportional representation, or for fighting for things like money out of politics. Those are things as well that we're trying to highlight and get people to fight for. Because if we had ranked choice voting and if we had proportional representation, who knows? Like, we could have been in Congress by now. The fact that we got 30% of the vote in 2018 as a Green, like, if we had proportional representation, we would probably be making some noise in the United States Congress right now, right? And that's really what we need to fight for, is ranked choice voting and proportional representation. And last but not least, register Green. Don't just be a Democrat or a independent or MPP. Like, the establishment gets scared when they see our numbers jump up and when they see their numbers go down. So imagine if the millions, the tens of millions who voted for Bernie, just jumped on the Green Party shit or whatever, and they continued organizing, with us. That would be amazing. So if I were you, register Green, like, be a Green Party member. After this live stream, become a member. And the next part is, I want you to all go to gp.org. And if you haven't already, put your email and sign up to receive notifications, because we're constantly sending out calls to actions, ways that you can help, and just updates on what the party's doing. And you can also sign up to volunteer as well. I know a lot of people are trying to figure out, well, what can I do now? There's a lot of volunteer opportunities here, and this is the place to do it. So go to gp.org, put in your email, sign up to volunteer. If you don't want to volunteer, then just put in your email just to get notifications. We won't send you an email every day, once a week or something. And most importantly, if you can, donate. Donate as well. We are a grassroots party. We don't have corporate donors. We don't have PACs backing us up. We're literally like volunteers. We're all volunteers. And it would be amazing if we could raise enough money, to have full-time Green Party members working on building the Green Party. Because right now, this is literally us working 9 to 5, and then gotta do Green Party stuff, and it's very difficult as well. But also donate too, because you're helping us out with petitioning costs, with getting us on the ballot, just so many things, like keeping our website up to date, and there's just so much more. So if you could donate as well, do that. And what else? What else is there? I think that is pretty much all I wanted to highlight. The first part of this video, I talked about, my journey of becoming a Berner and then going green. And the second thing I talked about is some of our great achievements that we've done. And the third and lastly was our calls to action, right? And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look on the live stream, and I'm going to let's see if I could answer a few questions that we have here. Let me see. Let me see what questions we have. So if you're watching this right now, you're watching live, feel free to ask a question, Twitter, YouTube, and I'll try to answer it. So I'm going to go through the live stream on Facebook first, and let's see what we got here. So let's answer some questions, shall we? So I'm going to scroll up as it looks like all the comments disappear after a certain time. So I'm going to see what I could do here. So if you have questions, feel free to ask. So I'm going to read some comments. Deborah said, Jill literally started the Green New Deal and brought that out to the forefront in 2016. That's 100% true, Deborah. She totally did. Let me see here. Austin Time says, let's try to make an unprecedented win, especially in these times. These times we are living in is unprecedented, so one may never know. Let me see here. Let me see here. A lot of people here are excited to vote green, and they are excited to get the Green Party to 5%. That's amazing. Thank you. Convince all your friends to vote their values to vote green. This is the time to vote green. We're always going to get fear mongered every 4 years to vote Democrat. It's not going to change. It's literally going to be the same every 4 years. So vote your values. Let me keep going. Let me see what else is here. Jackie says, in Maine, we have the only ranked choice voting race for U.S. Senate. That's huge, right? If you live in Maine, vote for ranked choice voting for U.S. Senate for Lisa Savage, who's running as an independent green. Let me see here. Bennett says we need to organize and consolidate. It's the largest party with this progressive of a platform. Let me see what else here. Abdul says that comment today that Bernie Sanders said, where to his Berner supporters, well, Bernie said to you guys, to me, that if you vote for, if you don't vote, or if you vote against Biden, you are being irresponsible. Abdul says that just sent me to the moon. That was really some BS that Bernie said that. So, you're not irresponsible. You're voting for your values. So let me read out some other comments and questions on Twitter as well. Shara on Twitter wants to know when I am going to run again. That's a question that a lot of people ask. When am I going to run again for Congress? Probably not like anytime soon. Probably down the road. I'm gonna take a look at it. If anything, it might even be a city council race. Who knows? Because at least there you get matching funds, and it's just very difficult to run in a congressional campaign. So I really appreciate you wanting me to run again, but I have to look at the landscape, and it's a little tough, and maybe a LA City Council just even just as important, but that will be down the road. So let me see. Let me see who else is there. Joshua said he's excited about Lisa Savage. Oh yeah, like I said, in 2018 we had 3 green U.S. congressional candidates make it to the top 2, which is a record. To get to top 2 in the primaries in California is difficult. And we had Rodolfo Cortez, we had Laura Wells, and we had myself, who made it to the general election in California. And if you could get to the general election, that's huge. That's a huge accomplishment that I'm really proud of that Greens got there. So let me see what else is there. Tom asks, how can people support candidates in other states? So if you want to support candidates in other states, I think the best thing to do is reach out to your state Green Party. I think they have a lot of information on who's running, or even reach out to the campaign directly. Go to gpelections.org and see who is running in 2020. Look at their names and look at their website and reach out to them. Volunteer at a phone bank, volunteer to donate. There's so much you could do right now to help other candidates in other states. Phone banking, text banking, donating $5. That's what you could do. You can help with things like online data entry. You can write and edit press releases for them. You could do research for other candidates. There's just so much you could do to help a lot of these campaigns that are out of state as well or out of your area. Let me see here. People are asking about the our national convention. Well, every 4 years we have our presidential national convention. So I think it's in Detroit, but with everything going on with COVID-19, I think it might be virtual. So just be on the lookout for that. If it is virtual, that means everyone could attend, right? We could have 10 thousands of people on there. Um, and if you sign up on gp.org and you put your email, you are going to find out about everything about the convention. So, like I said, go to gp.org, put your email so you can find out when the convention is. So you can find out whether it's going to be virtual or whether it's going to be in Detroit still or whatnot. Abdul says, I'd like to get signatures for Ohio ballot access. Hell yeah, Abdul. Thank you. Josh says we need all the help we can to get ballot access. It's crazy this year. Yep, it is crazy this year. We need everyone to get involved ASAP. Gloria asks, let me see here. Tell us about the local organizing work that you've been doing and what you've been up to. I think ever since we ran, or ever since we started in 2016, locally here in LA, and myself personally, I've been involved with housing rights, housing justice, fighting for things like housing as a human right, with one of our amazing organizations called the LA Tenants Union. And so right now we're actually organizing buildings locally who are going on a rent strike, because right now there's no money. So how could you pay for rent? If you look up hashtag food not rent, that's the LA Tenants Union out there doing the work and organizing buildings and helping people who are in these times where they don't have money for rent. So that's what I've been doing locally, helping out with that, organizing some buildings on rent striking, which is awesome. If you're local, do a lot of great work for your community. Helping out the homeless is also another thing that our group has been doing as well. There's just so much that we've been up to. But right now, for me personally, I'm focusing on housing justice and housing rights, and making sure that on May 1st that landlords aren't harassing tenants for not being able to pay rent. So that's what I'm doing locally. And let me see what else is there. Going through the list. Here's a good question, and I'll answer like 3 more questions, and 2 more questions, I'll be done. Question is, tell us how your campaign invigorated your district. How much did you raise in 2018, and what's the best strategy we should adopt on our campaigns locally and for Congress? So, our campaign definitely invigorated our district. We got 41,000 people to vote green in Los Angeles. Like, this is 90% Democrat. It's huge. Maybe not 90, but it's up there. It's really high up there. And we only had less than 2,000 registered Greens. And so our campaign in 2018, we got 41,000 people to vote green. And that was huge. That was 30% of the vote in an election against a Democrat. And we're proud to do that. And I think a lot of people are sick and tired of the same old politics. They're sick and tired of the neoliberal capitalist agenda that the Democrats are pushing. Personally, us here in LA, we have a Democratic majority in city council and mayor, but we don't see them doing anything for our community. We still see them enabling the LAPD to beat and kill Black and brown people. We still see the city of LA catering the developers and to landlords, destroying and gentrifying our communities here in LA. It's really, really, really like not good here. And I think people saw that, and we show that in LA. And so if my advice to people who want to run for office is look at what's wrong right now in your area, in your city, see who's in power, see how they contributed to that, and then and then put it out on full blast and show what you're going to do as a campaign to make things better. And because of that, we got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of volunteers, and it was it was amazing. It was an amazing campaign, and I miss it definitely very much. But if you're running for office, make that appeal and really do your research and see how you could help your community. And that's what we did. We catered our platform directly to the needs of our community. And we also raised over, I think we raised close to like $150,000, and like the average donation was like, I don't know, $15 or $20, but that was huge, right? Like we raised, but we still got outraised by like 15-1, and that was for us that was huge to raise that much amount of money. So I asked two more questions, and gotta get Bernie's momentum behind any more advice how to do that. As Tanya asked, we gotta get Bernie's momentum behind the greens. Is there any more advice on how we can do that? How we can convince Berners to go green? Like I said, share your story. Share why you got involved with Bernie in the first place, and why you think the Green Party is the next best thing to continue to fight. Organizing for the Greens. This is a long run. This is not just an election thing. This is us movement building, right? We can't just be involved in elections. It's about us getting involved locally in your community. It's about running for local office. It's about providing mutual aid for your neighbors when the government's not doing anything for you. Tell Berners that. Tell them and invigorate them. Tell them like, this is the place where you belong. This is the platform. Take a look at it. If you keep saying the Greens are too small or they're too wacky or whatever, we're never gonna grow, and you're just gonna keep getting disappointed over and over again if you just keep trying to help the Democratic Party. So don't be fooled. Be strong, have integrity, see to the big picture here. Every time people try to bring up negative things about us, I tell them, I'm here as a Green because of our platform and because we have access to states on the ballot. And that is probably the two big things that I need. And so that's what I tell people. So get that momentum of Berners and get them over here. So I'm gonna answer two more questions. Mobin asks, what do you think about eco-socialism compared to Bernie's Green New Deal? Definitely the Green Party's Green New Deal is that eco-socialist Green New Deal that we all need, right? The Democrats' Green New Deal, they're not going after or tackling the polluters or penalizing them like the oil polluters, the fracking industry. They're still willing to operate within this capitalist corporate framework where they're the ones in charge and how they're gonna move to renewable energies. Like how can you allow these people, these establishment people, to get off of fossil fuels and fracking if you're going to let them do it their own way, right? You can't have that. You got to have the people in charge who make the decisions democratically to move towards that 100% clean renewable energy that we need to have that eco-socialist future where this is the place where we can make decisions without the state having to make everything or corporations having to control everything. We're not gonna be able to get that eco-socialist future if we continue to let Nestle privatize water in Flint, right? Like, it's not gonna happen. And we got to make utilities free. We got to fight for 100% clean renewable energy, and that is why the Green Party's Green New Deal is way better than the Democrats' Green New Deal as well. What else is there? So one more thing, and then that'll be it. That's a good question. I think that's it. Anyways, like I said, I'm glad that you're all tuning in. If you just tuned in, I spoke about, number one, my journey from going from Bernie to Green. Number two, I talked about some accomplishments we've had as Greens. And number three, I talked about call to actions on what you could do at home and get involved in building the Greens. And then lastly, I just answered a few questions on the Q&A. So sorry about the technical difficulties in the beginning of the video. So if you're watching this, make sure you fast forward it to the part where I talk again. And like I said, sign up, put your email on gp.org, and like us on Facebook, like the Green Party on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, Instagram. I think we have Instagram. Sign up, donate, volunteer, and get involved and register green. Register as a Green Party member. All right. And I think that is pretty much it. This is Kenneth Mejia, proud Green member, Berner, progressive, eco socialist, and I just want to say thank you and go green. Peace.